Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the 2018 NFL Draft Class, specifically Mason Rudolph's analytics profile. So we're going to get into some quarterback statistics. If you're new to the channel, all terms and definitions will be in the description. I'll do the best I can to kind of explain things as I go along. But the two big terms today, if you're not familiar with the work that I do, is high school production score and the FBS Stat Score, and all of that information will be available in the terms and definitions section of the description. So you can just go there to give you an idea of the methodology at play when it comes to those particular scores. But first off, when we get to Mason Rudolph, he's one of those quarterbacks in this particular draft class where there is some people who really like him and other people who absolutely hate him. But based on his overall data, he actually is not that bad. When you look at his overall quarterback threshold data, which basically looks at his high school production data and his total FBS stat score data, he had a 97.92 high school production score and an 89.34 FBS stat score. Based on my data since the 2007 NFL draft class when it comes to high school data and the 1958 NFL draft class when it comes to FBS data, he pretty much hits every single threshold indicative of a multiple Pro Bowl quarterback. Basically meaning that every single multiple Pro Bowl quarterback since the 2007 NFL draft class had at least scored as high or higher of a high school production score as Mason Rudolph. And on top of that, their FBS stat score, basically what their college production score was, they also scored pretty high when it comes to that number as well. So everything from a production standpoint checks all the boxes for Mason Rudolph. Then when you get to the career data, so this is essentially the same as the FBS stat score, but what it does is it takes all of his seasons as a quarterback, adds them all together and divides them by whatever years it was. So for example, in Mason Rudolph's case, he had 3 seasons of college production scores. So I just added those 3 up, divided by 3, and then compared those to every single quarterback since the 1958 NFL draft class and looked at the thresholds therein. And when it comes to Mason Rudolph, at least when it comes to the bottom end threshold, he pretty much usurps the All-Pro career threshold, the bottom end threshold, just to keep in mind, the bottom end threshold. So that's the lowest you can go in terms of All-Pro potential. But again, Mason Rudolph has a pretty good production profile, and this is just one example. And then, of course, when you look at the averages of the position, it doesn't quite hit the average All-Pro career score when it comes to quarterbacks, but does get above the Pro Bowl career average score and, of course, the starter career score when it comes to Mason Rudolph. So for the most part, when you get to Mason Rudolph's overall production profile, everything checks all the boxes with him from a production standpoint. I do understand that there's definitely some film things that you can be concerned about, and he may end up just being a Mike Glennon or a Blake Bortles or, whatever you want to call him. But the bottom line is, when it comes to Mason Rudolph, is if there was a quarterback in this draft class who is somewhat being overlooked from a data perspective, and we've had quarterbacks like this. Dak Prescott was one of those quarterbacks, for example, that in his particular draft class, he pretty much hit every single production threshold you wanted to in terms of high school production and college production, and ended up being Dak Prescott. Now, I don't necessarily mean that means that Mason Rudolph is going to be Dak Prescott, but it just means that Mason Rudolph is someone that you should not forget about or not pay attention to when it comes to this particular draft class. But in conclusion, pretty good production score. And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification button so that you're always reminded another video of mine drops. And also be sure to check out the 2018 NFL Free Agency Offense Guide. In that guide, you will have profiles on quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and offensive linemen that are set to hit free agency. There's a couple of profiles in there of guys that have already been signed to contracts, but that should just give you a general sense of a lot of different information when it comes to the free agency cycle. And if you're an NFL fan, I highly recommend, or just a data person, or somebody who's really into NFL analytics, I would definitely check that guide out, which is also in the description in terms of the link to that. And with all that out of the way, I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.